Hey there viewers, and today it is day 13 and this is the web design challenge for 1 hour. My name is Roy and I'm a web designer, and we're going to change the video up a bit. So rather than speed it up like 10 times, we are going to just speed it up by 200%. So originally the video is around 55 minutes full, but we're going to have it at around 27 minutes. So hopefully you can bear with me on this. Yeah, if you're into Figma or Adobe XD, it doesn't really matter really. They're probably pretty much very similar, but I know Figma is free, which is why I started using it. And just to talk through it step by step, so I tried to put the brief on a frame, as you can see on the left side, and then what I tend to design in the resolution is 1920 by 1080 pixels. So here I just put the main heading in, and I think that I'm guessing now it's around 48 pixels. And in terms of a logo, now I've definitely struggled with the logos before, but because this is a 1 hour challenge, normally you could just put in a text name. I would use the keywords. In this case I couldn't think of one, so one is Cannabis Logistics. That could be, or it might be too obvious, so I went with a very safe option, which is a circle. And a circle is just clean. Obviously it's just a fictional logo, but it's just to put something in. And in terms of the navigation, I've created a component, and the nice thing about this is I can adapt it to different layouts. So what I tend to do is I'll have a layout for Dribble, for example. When I share it on Dribble, I have a layout for YouTube for the thumbnail. And what I tend to do is I have the component in another page, and the main button on the right, the sign up, that is positioned to the right, to stick to the right. So whenever I change the width, it will always stay on the right, and the nav will always be in the middle or the center, and the logo will always be on the left. So anyway, I'm just playing around, and because I created a component, I have to detach it, and then I can go in again and start changing the nav and the logo, because I wanted to replace the text with the circle. And now I'm just creating another CTA, which is the secondary one, and you want to try and not have the same the same style. So I would either go with a solid border, so it's a secondary button, and then you got your main out of the two, you got your main primary button, which is going to be a solid background. And again, I always try to encourage you to start in black and white or grey, so you're not focusing on color. You just want to focus on getting the elements in and making sure that they contrast enough. So sometimes I still make this mistake, but users need to read, and they need to be able to see it clearly. So contrast has been getting a lot of notice recently, and there's a plugin in Figma, and it's called Stark, STARK, and I highly recommend it because I use it quite often. So here I'm just, again, the safe option is just go black and white or grey and just lay out your elements. And because again we have an hour, this is starting to become a routine now, which is pretty good. And I have, if you see on the left side, if you go to assets, I've created a component for buttons. And the nice cool thing now, Figma has come out with variants. So if you're interested in a video about variants, let me know in the comments, and I'll do one on those. But the nice thing about a variants is you just create one button, you hit variant, and you can end up creating different variants. You can create your primary, secondary, hover, active, focus, disabled. There's so many variants you can create, and that is really, really good, because that really tells the designer, how complicated designs can be, or really how simple it can be and how complex you can make it. Because when developers take over, or when you work with developers, they need to code for different instances or states, and sometimes it's very easy to forget these. Anyway, back to the design. I either go with very square buttons or make a button look like a button. So there I've just made the border radius half of the height, so this then makes it like a rounded pill, as they call it in the in Bootstrap. And yeah, so here I'm just lining things up, and you can probably see clearly, we're zoomed out, but you can see clearly the main action on the page. What is the main goal of the page? That's a huge feedback I've been getting recently. Every page should have one goal, and in this case we are trying to get a sign up or a potential client, and this is so what I've done now, my go-to place for free images is Unsplash.com. Highly recommend them. Absolutely love their story when they started out, and now they've just grown huge. And I've actually come across these images before when I was looking at hydroponic farms. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but they're the new type of farms where they grow vegetables indoors. So anyway, I started looking around at freepick or stories.freepick.com, seeing if they have any illustrations, because illustrations is another trendy thing to use nowadays, but I couldn't find anything. So in my head I'm thinking, wow, yeah, these images, they show people and they're smiling, they look happy, they're really high quality images, and what I have in my head is to try and find images that are going to represent the keywords, which is logistics, supply, and cannabis as well. And there's a lot of things around CBD oil. If you're into MMA, quite a lot of the fighters, which I'm a massive fan, quite a lot of the fighters, or some of them, they use the oil to help with injuries and whatnot, but I'm not an expert in that, but I'm familiar with it because of MMA fighters and UFC. So yeah, again, I'm just finding the right images, ideally with people. And what I do is I create collections in Unsplash, which is really cool. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I still need to get in the habit of doing it, but you can see there, what I do is I create a collection, save it in, and then if I need to go back to them, it's very easy to find it. And like in this case, I looked at that image, which I'm not going to use, but I thought, that the layout and the typography and the colors look really nice. So sometimes you can use images as inspiration for your design. So yeah, I put out a post on Instagram where I spend maybe 5 to 15 minutes on finding images. Sometimes it will take a lot longer or a lot less, because you just get lucky and find great images straight away. And that's why I love Unsplash. They get away from the typical stock cheesy photos. These photos or the people, the subjects, they just look more natural, more real. So yeah, just spend time exploring. I don't go to too many different places to find photos. My go-to is unsplash.com. You may have yours, and please do let me know. Please share in the comments. what I highly recommend, which I should have said at the beginning of the video, is just get out your Figma or Adobe XD, open it up, open the canvas, do this for 1 hour, take on this challenge. The challenge is on, you can generate these free ideas on ideasai.net, I believe it is, or take on this challenge. This business, they take care of the supply and logistics in the cannabis industry. It's a really good challenge. It's different, and 1 hour a day, and then share it. You can find me on Instagram, ROYQUILOR, and you can tag me and I'll be happy to have a look. There's quite a few of us doing this challenge, so there's a nice little community brewing. This all started from Ran, who posted it up on Instagram. Ran Sigal, I might be pronouncing his surname wrong, and you can find him on YouTube as well. Very good designer. And The Future with Chris Doe, another great place. And another reason why I love doing these designs and sharing it is because I'm hoping to, if I can help a designer or a beginner just get better at the craft, then that's made my day. And let me know in the comments again. So yeah, I think I'm satisfied. I've found my images, and another good practice to do is not just have your typical CTA, which is sign up or get started. What I really liked about, I went to that website where they actually have those images. They had build your business as a CTA, and that is just the copy is just 10 times better than sign up or get started, for example. So another big challenge in this is you get to realize it's not just about the design and the visual, it's about the copy, the wording. Is the CTA, is the benefit strong enough for the user to take time out and actually click the button? And again, this goes back to knowing who the user is, who the target audience is. You have to bear that in mind as well. So again, I think for my own style is very clean and minimal. That's how I tend to design. That's the design I love, and feel that it fits well with quite a lot of products out there. So again, I'm just vertically aligning it in the middle. What I like about some images is you can make it go to the edge. So what I've done there, you can see it's on the edge, and they call that in typographic terms bleed, or it's right to the edge. I might not be saying it correctly, but you'll see this quite a lot on some sites. And then what I tend to do is copy the whole frame, just do a new one. And my intention is to explore how different images are going to look, because sometimes you'll put in an image, it just doesn't fit well with the other elements. And this image in particular, I felt, wow, this looks like the supply chain. It looks like it just looks really good. It's not too overpowering. It's very high quality. And then here I'm just putting in a sub image that will entice you to scroll. And again, it's just another thing I tried there was playing with border radius on the images. A nice shortcut on Figma is just hitting the plus key to zoom in or the minus key to zoom out, and I do that a lot. And I'm on Mac. I'm pretty sure the Windows would be the same, could be wrong, but it's just a handy shortcut that I use a lot. And another nice thing is, because I'm designing at such a high or wide resolution, when you zoom out like this, and I believe I'm on 50%, you really get to see how all the elements, how they fit well. Is there enough symmetry on the page? When you zoom so far in, sometimes you can't see the overall picture. So that's the nice thing about zooming in and out very quickly. And what I tend to do with images is I put them in a square or rectangle and then create a mask, and then place the image inside that mask and have that in a group, Command G, and it's just a lot easier to have the shape that you want. And I find that so easy and quick. And then I'm just thinking, oh, what if I put a second image and see how that looks? So I think I was looking at that CBD oil, and that is like a supply. I could be wrong. It's showing the whole process from beginning to end, not perfectly, but it's kind of summarizing the business, or what we can do for your business. And yeah, please do let me know what you think about the content, ways that I can improve. If you feel that you prefer these videos that are a lot slower, then please let me know. Or do you want the full 100 or the full 50 to 1 hour minutes, and where I actually just go through every single thing? Whereas another nice thing about this is I believe I created a component, and you can just combine that with auto layout, and you can actually just tap in the space between the elements. You don't have to drag it out anymore. And again, if you're a beginner, this is just the best way to learn design. It's just to do it every day. Design every day, even just for 1 hour. You'll be surprised how much you're going to learn. And there's a lot of beginners out there that say, how do I learn design? Where do I start? The best way to start is the work. And at the end of the day, you're going to have something to show, because what matters is your portfolio. It doesn't matter if it's fictional or not, and it will depend on the person hiring you. But if you can show that you have the skills, then this is the greatest thing about where we are at the moment with the internet. So I've been doing this for 8 years, and only now I've started to share the work, and I wish I did this sooner. And I do encourage you to do the same. And when you share your work, you're going to get very good feedback, negative or positive. And the feedback that I've been getting is the CTAs. What is the whole point of the email sign up? Why do they need to sign up? Is the startup not ready yet? Should they download an app? Some people even don't want to see a landing page. They just want to see the download button so they can try the app, which is a different perspective. But the challenge of this is to create a hero section of a landing page. So again, what I like to do is create background colors like the really light green, and the palette I use is from a library or a framework that you can get in Figma in the community, and it's Tailwind CSS, and these guys are amazing. So they created a whole framework, and the colors that they've chosen are just really good. So I just need to go in and select the colors, and I tend to go with the lightest green, so it's not going to be, the contrast won't be so bad with the text on top. So I highly recommend that you find the Tailwind CSS in Figma and just start using the library or the colors that they have, and I just use it all the time, and it just makes it so much easier, because colors is another thing as well. And the color scheme here is just going with what's in the images, which is green tones, and then I go with the darkest green on the CTA, so that's the biggest contrast, so hopefully that will draw your eye. And again here I'm just playing with shapes really, so I've got a bordered box there just to balance out with the left side background, just to change it up. Again, you can experiment. And then here I just think I'm going to add an icon to the button, and it's just an arrow, and this gives it again a bit more of an importance, something different from the other buttons because they don't have an icon, so that will hopefully stand out a bit more. So again, I'm looking at their example, and they got a really nice zoomed in picture, so I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. So I thought, okay, I'll find an image that is close to that. And the thing about using a background image for the whole hero, you have to be careful about contrast again. So the technique is to darken it. And like for example here, if I put that in, you just can't read anything. It's very hard to read. So the trick there is to just lower the opacity, which I've done, and then to blend it in with the background color, which I've got a really light green. So that's not too bad. And then I try the opposite and just go dark, and then from there I'm changing the text to white. So again, you can nearly say this is dark mode. So again here I'm just changing all of the colors to white, and I'm sure there's a quicker way to do this. I'm not aware of it yet, but if anyone does know, please let me know in the comments again. And the font I'm using there is called Space Grotesque. This is a really nice font, and I feel that it's not so common. And they also have a mono space version as well. So for all the coders out there, it's pretty adaptable. So at this stage, I'm just looking for other images, trying not to go with the same three, because what I tend to do after this is I'll share this on Instagram or Dribble, or both, and then just get feedback. And feedback is just so important, especially when you're working with a startup. You don't want to have clients waiting weeks and then you show them. You want to show it as quick as possible. And when I mean quick, I don't mean within hours. It obviously could take days, but the earlier you show it, then the quicker you get feedback, especially if you're on the right track. But again, this could be down to how you question the client and if they like your type of style of work, and that could really cut through everything, really. If they like your style, which is clean and simple, they have the same taste, then it's very likely they're going to like what you produce. Here's a nice image of maybe logistics, so I probably have to look up the meaning of logistics properly, but there's a lot of vehicles here, or supply. And what I like to do as well is I like to look at the photographers. If you see an interesting image from one photographer, it's very likely that they're going to have some really good photos. So I tend to follow them. So I'm just looking at a picture that could have a zoomed in version of cannabis. Again, I'm just exploring, and I don't think I can find one that I think might suit. So again, I go back, and I think I did end up finding one, with the hands. You can see the two hands, and the plant is still, feels like it's still as a baby or at its roots. So I thought, okay, maybe I could use something like that. The hands is like caring when you see hands in the way that it's positioned. So I thought, okay, let's try this. So I went. So yeah, I think, okay, here's 3 images, and let me just try the main one at the bottom. So I did try this one to see how that will work out. and it definitely does look good. And yeah, again, that's the nice thing about Figma, and it's just really quick to create new frames, and just to try things. I feel that it's so important just to try things out. Don't be afraid to have different versions, and they're all quite similar. The color scheme, the left side form and heading, they're all the same, but imagery can make a big difference. So why not experiment? And we got an hour to do this. So once you have all the basic elements down, which is the nav, the heading, and the form, CTA, now it's down to you finding the right imagery or the illustration. That for me, I feel is the big challenge that takes time. It's finding the image, finding the right copy, and the right text on the CTA. And you could probably see here that the pattern I use is having the heading on the left with the form, and then the image on the right. And that is just a typical pattern you see, and that's because people read from left to right, and depending on which country, I think the Middle East, or which country, you read from right to left. But in this case, the common pattern is left to right. So again, it's a safe option to use, but it's a very common pattern. And when you're a beginner, it's very good to have the foundation or the basics down. And you'll see this over time. And having everything centered, there's been a lot of debate about it, but having it centered is not really creating balance. And there's a couple of designs I've done in past day challenges where most of the elements are centered and it's not really in balance. So anyway, so yeah, I went with 3 images to show the key areas of the business, and I got one big main image, and I think I made a last minute change because we are getting up to 50 minutes or more, and I went with this. I felt, this could be nice because the hands, it's got a person caring or helping the plant grow, and it's just positioning it so the plant will have to be opposite the text so that it's kind of balancing the text, and I think that is probably that. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a bit longer video, and please do let me know what you think about the content. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, take on this challenge, and let me know how you get on, and then I'll see you again tomorrow. So have a good day and take care. Bye.